Hi, Rabbi Baruch Halevi, Rabbi B here. Welcome back to Soul Centered. Soul Centered is a center for loss, meaning, and healing. And my wife, Ariel, and I, co-founders, that's what we do. We guide people through all kinds of counseling opportunities, working with individuals, particularly during times of difficulty and challenge and struggle, like the world around us. We also offer experiences like this one. I'm calling this Remembering to Transform Tragedy. It's a video series inspired by Executive Director of Jewish Family Service in Omaha, Nebraska, where I was born and raised, Karen Gustafson. They do great work at JFS, and I wanted to support them, connect with my community in Omaha, Jewish, greater community, and anybody and everybody who can benefit from a message like Remembering to Transform Tragedy. This is the maybe final in this video series, maybe got one more in me, but this one is about legacy. Every video has been about kind of memory, remembering the role of looking backwards so we can look around us to move forward with purpose, with meaning, with direction, with inspiration. It's my thesis philosophy in life that we can get through anything, any tragedy, no matter how horrible it might be, if we get clear about who we are, where we've come from, where we're at, where we're going, if we can find meaning in it. I consider myself a student of Dr. Viktor Frankl, author of Man's Search for Meaning and creator of Logo, or meaning-centered therapy, practitioner of it, because I do believe meaning is the key ingredient. And I've seen this over and over again in guiding people, all backgrounds, all religions. This is this universal common message. It's about being human and finding meaning in the darkness when it descends in our lives. I've seen it over and over again, especially at death, when the death of a loved one happens. I once counted at the end of my role as a synagogue rabbi. I did that for about 15 years, another 5 years in rabbinical school. I counted I did about 500 funerals. Every funeral is tragic. It's heartbreaking. I don't care where you are in life, and even if it's a good death, and there is such a thing as a good death when you're 100 and it's time to go, it's still tragic. Every human life is precious. However, there's tragedy, and then there's what I call tragedy compounded. And those are the complex deaths. Obviously, all kinds, too many to name. But I want to talk about a complex death that maybe we haven't thought about, certainly don't think about often. It happened more than a handful of times. When I would be at the cemetery, I'd be officiating at a funeral for a man or a woman who nobody seemed to know. Certainly nobody seemed to show. It was myself and the funeral director, the cemetery workers, and the deceased. And that was tragedy compounded. That's tragedy plus, right? To have lived a life where people aren't showing up for you, and it's not because of coronavirus. These are extenuating circumstances where most people still have loved ones in the wings, at home, virtually, thinking about them. But I'm talking about those situations where there was nobody to carry on the legacy, to remember. And I think about the Jewish proverb that says the only truly dead are those who have been forgotten, right? I counsel people all the time through grief that our loved ones aren't dead. Maybe their body is physically gone, and that is just a fact, but their spirit is here, their emotions here, but their memories are with us, their values are in us. There's so much that is alive and that is well. And thinking about probably my favorite, most often repeated saying or quote, a person dies two deaths, once when their body dies and once when their story dies. There's nothing we can do to stave off bodily death. Get the finest doctors, the right medicine, the right treatments, and it's still only a matter of time. God willing, 100+ years, but it's a matter of time. As a philosophy professor of mine once said, ain't none of us getting out of this alive. So that's tragic enough. But when we are forgotten, that's tragedy compounded. And when a loved one comes and goes, this is where we find meaning and purpose. I call this flipping the script, right? To go from passive bystanders to active participants after the loss of a loved one. What's our duty? What's our role? To become guardians of their name, of their story, of their legacy. Each and every one of us, we are a story. Our life is a story. It's a great saying that our life is like a set of scrolls, right? And we write on it the actions of our lives. And we hand those scrolls to the people coming after us, walking in our footsteps, and we take those scrolls of our loved one's story to make sure that they don't die a second death. That is a powerful way to, I believe, transform the tragedy. It does not make it go away. It does not bring your loved one back. I would trade everything to have my father, Shelley, again, back into my life. But that's not the option. The option is either he dies once or he dies twice. And I set out in my life, that's why I talk about him so much, to make sure that at least under my watch, he doesn't die a second death. If you ask my kids, 2 of whom never met him, the other 2 were just little when he left this world, they talk about him like they know Grandpa Shelley. We have all kinds of games and sayings that's a Grandpa Shelley saying, that's a Grandpa Shelley game. My little one will just talk about Grandpa Shelley as if he's here. And maybe he is here. I believe he is, but that's another conversation for another video. For this video, it's enough for me to hear them talking about him in the present as if he's here, because I know I am fulfilling my duty, my sacred obligation that I owe my father and my other loved ones, my grandparents, my great-grandparents, to remember their name, to remember their story, to tell their story, to become a guardian of their legacy. And this is what I offer each of us. This is what I offer you. When a loved one dies, it isn't the end of the story if we choose to make it not the end of the story. If we choose to become the guardian of their story, of their legacy, of their name, there are 1,000 ways we can do this. And I'm happy to talk to you about those 1,000 ways. I work with people all day, every day. My wife Ariel and I, we offer experiences around this Mother's Day, and then obviously followed by Father's Day. We're going to be having memorial, we call them legacy experiences, so that we can make time for those of us whose mothers aren't here. Thank God mine is, but hers isn't. Of our fathers on Father's Days who aren't here, mine isn't, hers is. To create a space and a place to pay tribute to them. It's about them, it's about our loved ones, but it's as much about us, about being the man, the woman, the son, the daughter, the brother, the sister, the grandchild, you name it, right? Being the person who remembers, who takes this not only seriously, but sees it as part and parcel of who we are and why we are here. We are the guardians of our loved ones' legacy. That is how we transform tragedy, and it is how our children and their children and those who walk after us will navigate their darkness when it descends, when we are gone. We are teaching them by our example. I hope this has been helpful, meaningful, purposeful, inspirational for you during a very difficult time. No matter what you are facing, no matter how difficult it might seem, hold on. Keep going, find meaning, sparks of possibility and purpose in the darkness. It is there waiting for you. Reach out to Jewish Family Service. Reach out to me. Get a hold of me at mysoulcenter.org or just Google Rabbi B. Until then, until the next video, keep going, keep seeking sparks of possibility in the darkness. Keep being a guardian of your loved one's legacy. Shalom, salam, namaste, and peace. Take care.